the life of a teacher at best is kind of like organized chaos?
Stressful, extreme highs and extreme lows, exhausting, amazing,
hard, hectic,
exciting, and overwhelming. Kind of all wrapped up into one.
the associations people currently have with it. I think that might be a slight roadblock with people understanding what it is, but the idea that there's science behind it and that it's sort of like the equivalent to in the 50s people didn't run. Nowadays, mindfulness is sort of that new way to take care of yourself. And I think when people make that connection, I think that they would eagerly go for it, especially if it was something that could be done within the school setting, like it was something school sanctioned and promoted and supported.
And if you truly understand what it is, I don't know how you can't be interested.
The biggest thing is awareness and understanding that there are ways to, to kind of combat and fight against like some of that stress in a more productive way. I mean, I learned some things about just being in the moment, being present, do it wherever you are, and then just collect yourself. And you feel that moment. You don't say, "I'm not going to feel this," but you feel it, and then you move on. And I do that. I find myself not necessarily putting my hand in my heart in the classroom, but kind of taking a minute to be mindful of where I am, what I'm doing, what's causing me stress, and then kind of collecting myself in the classroom before I move on with students.
So try to find the best response, particularly when dealing with students who maybe are frustrating me in the moment. I have to remember, okay, what's the long-term best way to look at this? But also keep in mind that, this single moment doesn't define me, it doesn't define the student. So it's keeping things, in perspective.
Yeah, for me, I stopped thinking of things as failures, and I started to look at them as opportunities, or oops, that didn't work, we're going to try that again. The second half of the year, and kind of when this started to be a part of my teaching, I just stopped feeling at the end of the day like I had failed. That mindset kind of went away, and even the days that I felt beat up or overwhelmed, I didn't feel like I failed.
Oh, I think they liked it a lot, and I think there's some, because I had talked to them afterwards, and there were quite a few that said that they either tried to do a yoga or some sort of meditation. But
they liked it. They liked it a lot. Yeah, a lot of them even said the next day, they were like, "That was really cool. We really liked how it was just like quiet and peaceful. This world we live in is so noisy."
And I think by working with mindfulness, it will give them more strategies to be more well-rounded and deal with their hectic lives.
Yeah, I introed to them brain change and kind of the fact that they have the ability to change their brain. And then we talked about mindful growth and how, they could choose their reaction. They could choose kind of their way they see the world. And they thought that was really cool. And then we talked about grit and how, the not yet idea. And they really liked that. And we kind of talked about how, like us as teachers approaching them, if we come to them with that more, we're not there yet, that travel mentality, opposed to you failed here or you're not doing this well, how that would help them. And I got really positive feedback from that too.
And then I've also done listening activities, the micro lab protocol, and that was an interesting experience just to kind of see how kids really need to be taught how to listen and what they struggled with and what they did well with, and being able to talk about that candidly too. So I think it was a really cool activity just to work on how do we listen to each other and really hear what people are saying, and they seem to really enjoy it too. So
pushing, showing a video, this is what mindfulness is, could easily be a few minute exercise or a few minute thing at the beginning of class or at the end of class. And I think that even just those little things, ways to, whether it's journaling, whether it's breathing, whether it's just meditation, visualization, just different strategies, I think that it's something that that should be done in the classroom, and that can be done pretty easily.
I would feel like I would need to be more informed. I think starting early would be the key.
So after taking this course, one thing I really am interested in doing is thinking about how do you establish that community or that understand awareness of mindfulness from the get-go, right out of the gates. So I think that that's something that students, teachers, and even like a whole school culture could benefit from, is just how are we a community, how are we all here as like a group of learners and stuff like that, and how are we all related and connected.
I'm hoping to kind of roll it out as my first week or two plan, and do the kind of intro again, and then really ideally I would like to find an opportunity, maybe weekly or bi-weekly, and with our E&I time I'd really like to utilize that to do some meditations. I'd like to teach, I'm teaching AP, and I hear so much about test anxiety, so I'd like to teach them some like maybe stretching and kind of meditative practices, so that when they feel that anxiety coming on, ways that they can kind of pull back in. I'd really like to do grit ladders, which is goal setting, and I really like the idea of vision boards, kind of visualizing what they'd like to do with their life. So I'd really like to do those, are kind of on my list, and I would like to incorporate them as kind of something that when I mention that we're doing it, the kids know what to do, and it becomes second nature to them.